Hey everybody, Doug the Michigan Piper here in the Pipe Rest, and I am smoking today some Mason Edwards number 5, which is reminiscent of HH Classic Burley Cake. Smoking that in my Dr. Grabo Savoy, and enjoying it. Well, just started enjoying it. This is a kind of a victory pipe today, because I jumped another hurdle in getting, I don't want to say getting through this summer, but just the fact that this has been the busiest summer for me in spring that I remember in a long time. So I start breaking down life into, modular, in a modular scale, if you will, to figure out what hurdles I need to get through so it's not as busy. And today was one of those hurdles. We had a training at the medical examiner's office. So every Friday for the last 3 weeks, we've been getting ready for it, which means I'm driving an hour to Kalamazoo, Michigan to go through the training stuff, and then driving home and doing a little bit of studying, and then the next week same thing, and then this week was an all-day training that we actually did that for, just some scenarios and stuff on infant deaths. And so yeah, it's enjoyable for me to do that kind of stuff, not necessarily to deal with infant deaths, but to I love teaching, love training, but it was just one more thing in the way this summer. And like most of you know, I'm getting ready to quit that job, so it was like hard to stick with it because I knew I'm not gonna be there much longer. But I do really like some of the people, and want to do a good job. So anyway, thought I'd try something new. And I ordered some cigars from Cigars International. They had an ad in a local paper for 8 cigars for $10. It was a sample pack, and like, you know what, I never have been a big cigar guy. Every once in a blue moon, like once every other year or something, I'll have a cigar. So I'm like, what the heck. My son gets into cigars occasionally, and it's something we can do together. So I'm like, oh, what the heck, I'll get some. But then dawned on me, it's like, I'm not going to smoke all these right away. I'm going to need something to put them in. And I had some cigars not too long ago that I ruined because I didn't do the homemade cigar or humidor thing right. A couple people on here said, hey, throw out some Tupperware with a sponge. I did that. I soaked them. And to be quite honest with you guys, there's a couple of reasons why I'm not fond of cigar smoking. One is because when I picture somebody smoking a pipe, I picture somebody pondering stuff. I don't know, just C.S. Lewis. I don't know, just pondering. When I picture somebody smoking a cigar, I picture a big fat guy, a big obnoxious fat guy, like, and no offense meant to anyone watching this that smokes cigars, but that's just burned into my skull. So even when I went to Ewan Reese in Chicago, they've got that smoking lounge there. I stayed in there for a little while smoking my pipe, but the cigar guys came in and I just didn't, I associated that smell with that image. So I ended up smoking the rest of my pipe on the street. And again, nothing against pipe smokers, nothing against E1 Reese. It's just that that's where I was at. And thirdly, it's a lot more expensive to smoke cigars. You know, after the pipe is bought, after the tin is bought, 25 to 50 cents a bowl. We're talking $8 to $13 a cigar on the low end. Unless you're smoking Swisher Sweets, which I'm not fond of anymore. So I decided to, one thing I wanted to try was a variety of stuff. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, because, you know, you buy a dozen cigars at $10 a pop, and there goes $120 to find out what you like. And so I saw this and took advantage of the sale. Got 8 cigars, and then I bought a humidor. My nephew smoked cigars, and he sent me one that was off Amazon. And really the only 2 things I want out of a humidor is, one, for it to have a gauge on the outside so I know it's getting too dry, because I won't be in this thing very often. So walking by I can see, you know, what the humidity is in it. And 2, for it to have a window, because since I don't smoke cigars that much, I want to make sure, you know, it's like, did I have any cigars in there? Let's get a window so you can see that you got cigars in there or not, and how many. But this has got, looks like Fabrica Village. I don't know what that one is, you guys. It's in the package. I guess I could open this up. This ought to be fun. Make you cigar guys laugh at me trying to figure out how to get in here and not tear stuff up. See if we can slide out here. Fabrica Village. This one is a Chillin' Moose. Of course, the light's going to be hitting those and messing them up. Next one, Arganese. Oops, upside down, sorry. Next one is, it just says HC White. So whatever that is. It didn't sit on the ad. I didn't pay much attention, because it's not like they're telling me, you know, Captain Black and Escudo, right? This one is a Macanudo Inspirado. Next one is CAO. I remember that. Cameroon. And I have CAO, Eileen's Dream, I think is CAO. And that's a good tobacco. So 2 more here. Got a Mark Twain Memoir. And the last one, Torano Dominico. So I'm going to see which one of those I like. I'm starting to realize, after reading some stuff, after trying cigars and talking to a few guys, that there's not as much, there is variety in cigars, not as much variety in cigars as there is in pipes. So in my pipe smoking, I have gotten down to less of a variety. Just toss this over here for now. So my 3 main blends, I finally whittled it down to 3 main blends. And that's Captain Black Platinum, which is pretty much my number one go-to. Lane HGL, and then a custom blend from Pat. I think I talked about this before, but Great Expectations, which is 50% 1Q, 50% BCA. Those three, if I'm in a sweet mood, I do the Great Expectations. If I'm in a more of a cadre mood, I'll have Captain Black, or just a general blah gets Captain Black Platinum, and then the HGL kind of peppers in there whenever I feel like I don't want the other two. And that's kind of how usually when I go to my rotation, it's like, which ones don't I want? And then usually there's one that sticks out that's like, oh, that wouldn't be bad. Like I said, I'm not smoking any of those today, but usually if I'm grabbing something, especially if I'm grabbing something just to go, it's one of those three. So we're gonna give the cigars a try. I might show you guys the humidor when it comes in, but I'm not looking to dive in head first and get thousands of dollars worth of cigars and have a $2,000 humidor. Just not something I'm interested in. I like the pipes. Cigars are easy. I'll give it that. They're easy. And I do find with cigars that there's less film or aftertaste on my tongue than there is with pipes. Obviously, Pat and I were talking about it. The stems will, it shoots that smoke condensed right on your tongue. That's probably the reason for that. But I wouldn't mind having a cigar that was my go-to cigar I could get around here. I really like the Aladinos that Adam from The Piper Wondering got me onto. They're really good. Love the size. Size is almost perfect. But they're not really, you can't just go out and a local store and buy them. So he can, because he talked Mason Edwards into stocking them. So good for you, Adam. But there again, you get 5 of them and it's like $55, so, or something like that. Don't quote me on that price. So we're gonna give it a shot, you guys. Have a cigar every now and then, and not leaving my love with the pipes by any means. So looks like I've rambled on for over 13 minutes. So I appreciate you guys hanging in here, guys. I'm going to relax for a little while and enjoy this end of this day. This is a good one. So I hope you're all doing well. Until next time, you take care.